Hey everyone, Sanjay here. Today's video, we're me starting a series on profitable prospecting. Outbound pipeline generation is a topic that's very near and dear to my heart. A lot of the deals that I've sourced and closed have all come from outbounding into my specific territory or my account list. I actually want to break this up into two parts. This first video, we're going to be diving into building an account list and building a territory. If you're not familiar with the concept of accounts, it essentially is the company that matches your ICP that you're going to start cold calling into, sending cold emails, LinkedIn messaging. And so really what I want to show in this video is the tools that I use, my process for finding and actually pulling these accounts that match my ICP, and then really my thought process and how I prioritize my time. So if I pull 10 accounts, I shouldn't be spending 10% of my time in all 10 of those accounts. You want to prioritize your account list so you're getting the most return and spending the most time with the ones that will give you the highest return for your effort. So really, for y'all coming out of this video, I want you to be able to say, hey, I want to start calling into or selling to healthcare startups in the United States. You should be able to go using some of the tools and processes I'll show y'all today to be able to pull an account list and start calling into those accounts. So one final thing before we jump into the video, if you haven't already, here's my LinkedIn URL. Connect with me on LinkedIn. I'm going to start posting more content on LinkedIn. And also send me a DM. I'm happy to help out however I can. I'm just trying to expand my network by posting out valuable content. So without further ado, let's dive right into the video. All right, y'all. So we're in my computer right now. I want to start things off by just showing the 5 tools that I typically use in my account building process. So Crunchbase is an online company database. It's something that I use to essentially search for companies that match my ICP. For those of you that don't know, my ICP is selling to open source software companies and open source startups. And I do advisory consulting for their sales teams as well as SDR services. And so I use Crunchbase as a way to kind of filter through an entire list of organizations to find companies that match that ICP. Then I use Google Sheets as a way to clean some of the information. Crunchbase will give you all the information under the sun, stuff that really isn't that relevant. So I use Google Sheets as a way to essentially clean that account list, that raw data, and then export it and import it as a CSV into my CRM. I use LinkedIn Sales Navigator to save my account list. The reason I do this, obviously, is because if you save your accounts on LinkedIn, when things happen to your accounts, like let's say they hire a new CEO, they launch a new product, they raise a new round of funding, all those updates you'll get emails for, and I believe like either a daily or a weekly fashion. So it's a good way to build relevant messaging and see compelling events that are happening within the companies you're trying to sell to. Then I've been using ChatGPT to do high-level account research. One disclaimer here, ChatGPT does have a cutoff date of September 2021. So if you do want to get the most up-to-date information, I can make another video on how to do that type of account research. But ChatGPT is a great way to get high-level information on an account, what products they sell into, who they sell into. It's a really good way to speed up, how quickly you can research a large list of accounts. And then I have Outreach. So I am not big enough to where I need a full-on CRM like Salesforce. But I do outreach, or I use Outreach as a way to track my outreach activity. So how many emails I'm sending, how many phone calls I'm making, how many LinkedIn messages I'm sending to specific accounts. So these are the 5 tools that I use to build an account list. So the first tool that we're going to be diving into is going to be Crunchbase. So if we come here, this is Crunchbase. It is a free tool, but I do pay for it because there's some features that help really speed up how quickly I can go from a search to actually having an account list. Right here, they also have some information around lists that you can build and really being able to track the, like any new information that happens. So what we're going to do is come to search Crunchbase, come to companies, and then this is how you actually build that search. So for me, for example, I'm going to be putting headquartered in North America. The reason I do this is because, I'm based in the United States, so I want to make sure it's just a time zone thing. It's just a lot easier to work with accounts that when you can, be in the same time zone as them. Within descriptive keywords, I don't really work with this too much. Industries is where I spend the majority of my time. So for me, it's open source software companies. But there, so obviously like our list went, I think from like 2 million to about 950. I want to work with startups. So for me, my ICP is basically Series B and earlier. So that typically looks like at about 100 employees is when a company's Series B, and so you can reduce the number of employees here. And so we've got around 732. And last couple things I like to do is, I believe right here, company status, for profit. I'm not really selling into charities right now or nonprofits. So these are for-profit companies, and then active. So this is a decent list that we can work with. Like everything, not all the information will be 100% accurate. But now, based on my ICP, which is, early stage, before Series B startups in the open source space in North America that are still active and for profit, I was able to create a list of about 600 or so companies that match that ICP. So you can actually save this search. So when a new company kind of fits this criteria, they'll start adding accounts to this. But what I'm going to do next is actually export this list as a CSV. So whoops, didn't mean to do that. So we're going to go into Google Sheets right now. And then we're actually going to import this into Google Sheets. Okay, perfect. So right now I'm going to pause the video really quickly because this is a ton of information, and I'm actually going to basically do this not for 600 accounts, but I'm going to try and do this for about 10 accounts so that we can have a quicker turnaround time on how much we're actually doing this. So I pulled 10 accounts that we're going to be working with throughout the rest of this this guide. For me in particular, like there's only a few things that I really need to know about these accounts when I think about like long-term, like, keeping track of them, figuring out like, where they are. And what I mean by long-term is like, let's say I reach out to SwiftType and then I don't hear anything from them. And then 6 months goes by and I'm like, hey, let me go hit up some of the accounts I hit, up 6 months earlier. I want to make sure I have some kind of foundational information so that I'm not starting from square one every single time. I want to run a company through a sales cycle or a, prospecting cycle. So a couple things that I think are kind of irrelevant to me is going to be, these columns here, delete that. This I can get rid of. I do like having the location just because I know if I'm calling people within these accounts that they're probably either, Central, Eastern, or Pacific time zone. Operating status, I don't need that. Now, since I sell into startups, it's important for me to at least know like what maturity they're at. I don't need this column. Website, description. This is also pretty relevant for me. So yeah, I think this is actually a good, whoops, let me get rid of this too. This is redundant. So yeah, this is a good, I would say, kind of the information that I would need in order to kind of build that account and territory list. So now that we have these 10 accounts, the next thing that we're actually going to be doing is going into LinkedIn Sales Nav and actually building our account list there. And now the reason we do that is because if anything changes in these accounts, right? Let's say, SwiftType goes from a Series B and they raise their next round of funding, we'll get updates from LinkedIn because they usually post about it on LinkedIn. So you want to start saving these accounts into an account list on LinkedIn as well, so you get automated updates in your email whenever something new or exciting happens at any of these organizations. So how I like to do it, I actually just go into each of their LinkedIn profiles. Oh wow, this company actually got acquired by Elastic, and you can go in here and then hit View in Sales Nav. And then here you can hit Save Account, and then you can actually create a list here. So you can say test, maybe for like YouTube, pipeline generation. And so click that list, and now you have a list that it's in. So if you actually go into your account list right here, go into right under here, it'll say saved accounts and then YouTube. So these are the accounts that we'll actually save in. And the reason I do this, right, is if you actually come into LinkedIn Sales Navigator, you'll have this almost like feed of people that are interacting, posting, and you'll know which one of your accounts and which leads in those accounts or contacts in those accounts are active on LinkedIn, what they're talking about. So for this example, like ArangoDB, they just launched a new version of their product, 3.11. Min.io is doing something around office hours. These are some folks that have accepted my connection request. And so it's a good way to essentially also filter through specific accounts. So these are accounts that are posting things. It's a good way to see what are some compelling events that are happening in your territory or account list that you can use to craft your messaging. And so I'm going to just quickly do this for some of these accounts. Quickly, I just come into more, view in sales nav. Now, something I do want to call out here is I am doing this manually. There is a way for you to actually import these as a CSV. I don't think the functionality is open to me since I'm on a lower subscription of LinkedIn Sales Navigator. For me personally, it doesn't really take that much effort to go in and just click, this and then save an account to a lead list. So I'm going to quickly save this account list and then we'll dive into doing the account research in ChatGPT. All right, y'all, so now we have our account list in LinkedIn Sales Navigator. So if anything new or interesting happens, we'll get an email alert from LinkedIn. This will help us continue to sharpen our outreach messaging. Next thing what we're going to do is do high-level research on some of these accounts using ChatGPT. This is something that used to be manual. You had to click into each of these accounts to find what they actually do. But with ChatGPT, we can help kind of expedite that process a little bit. And actually kind of refine it. So we go into ChatGPT. I'm going to say, pretend you're a tech industry researcher. I need your help researching specific companies. Now, the reason I'm saying this is you typically, when you're writing these prompts in ChatGPT, you want to make sure you're actually breaking them up. You don't want to give up a full task. You want to break the task up into more digestible pieces. And so right now, let's see here. I need to understand what types of roles buy their products, their ICP, ideal customer profile, and what problem their customers solve with their solution, with their product. Are we focusing on the end user or enterprise products, for example? If it's a software company, are we focusing on the end user or enterprise products? We are focusing on the end user. Gotcha. Okay, so now we're gonna actually give it the account list. So copy this. I'm gonna just put the website so it has a little bit more of a perfect. So now ChatGPT is going to basically give us all the information that we need. And we're going to take all this information and actually take it back and fill in the description here, because this description is extremely high level and it's very marketing. This description and information that we have will actually help us tailor our messaging. And if we do land some of these folks as a client, we'll have that foundational knowledge on really how we can best help them. Okay, perfect. So now ChatGPT did all of this. What I'm actually going to do next is, can you reorganize output in a tabular format? I need it for Google Sheets. Have the company website as the website. Sorry, spelling is not my thing. And the information, the researched information in a separate column description. Now this is just make ChatGPT basically organize everything in a way that's very easily importable into our Google Sheet that we have here. All right, y'all, so ChatGPT finally finished the research. It came out in this great tabular format. So what we're gonna do next is actually copy all this information. We're gonna go back to our spreadsheet and actually paste it right here. So, values only, okay, perfect. And for me personally, y'all can set up your CRM however you want to, but I actually have this as a custom field as account research. So I'm just gonna name it that. And so next step, now that we have our research, we know what our companies, like the companies we're trying to sell into do, who they sell into, what their product does. We're gonna import this list into our CRM. And you're gonna do that by downloading it as a CSV right here. And really why we do this is because it'll allow us to track the historical activity that we do against a specific account. So if we go into outreach, I don't have a CRM because I'm not big enough for one. So I'm just tracking all my activity here. But if you go to this, lightning bolt icon, hit bulk create, go to accounts, and then I think this was the one that we just downloaded. And then you just want to map all the essentially columns you have here to the fields within your CRM. So for me, name, I'm gonna need that. Funding, I have one for funding. I have one for round. I have some custom fields that I've mapped. Employees, industry, location, website, and then this is account research. So I have it as another custom field and then LinkedIn URL. I like to just make, overwrite existing fields, start import, and then boom, now we have a fully active account list with an outreach. So now the next step after this is going to be to really start adding some prospects to each of these accounts, and then you'll start seeing some of the activity and really being able to track the activity against each of these accounts. Awesome, y'all. So that's the video for today. If you liked the video, leave a thumbs up. If you enjoyed this video and some of the other videos on my channel, subscribe to the YouTube channel. I'm going to be posting 2 videos weekly on this channel, one on Wednesday, one on Sunday. Outside that, have a good rest of your day, and I'll see you in the next video. Take care.